Hey riders, here we are again. This one's a real banger. Uh, it fits the sleeper category, that's for sure. First did this ride on July 25th of the year. Didn't record it for whatever reason. I just knew it kind of suited my style. And so I took myself on in, I think, late August. Now, what I've done is it's a 14.84 kilometer ride with 527 meters of climbing. That ends up being 9.2 miles and just over 1,700 feet. Now, in this one, the first kilometers are pan flat. So, what I've done here, as you can see the screen moving, I've jumped ahead 4 kilometers. And at this point, if this thing will ever load, oh, it's having a little bit of trouble here. Here we go. You can see here we're more than 4 kilometers in, and we've only climbed 28 meters out of the 527. Video is running at 2 times normal speed. And what I did with this one is I just went off the rip. I just took a flyer right off the start, knowing that my personal record really wasn't a great time. Like, I just rode this for something to do. What it was that before the Vuelta kicked off this year, I think there was a challenge called, someone correct me in the comments if you can, please. I'd love to see it. It was called, I think it was called a Vuelta Flashback, I believe. And I think all it said was ride 100 kilometers in the month or 2 weeks, whatever it was, of any La Vuelta routes. So I was hunting around and I found this road called La Vuelta Murxido. Looks like the perfect kind of climb for me, not brutally long, one that I can keep my power up pretty much the whole time. So, like I said, I did it, I believe it was July 25th. And, I really enjoyed the climb. You're going to see why at the end here. Most of the climbing is at the back end. It's a real nice climb because it's steep, flat, steep, flat, steep, flat, steep, flat. So you get lots of time to recover, but the steeps further on the back end are pretty brutal. Um, if you've got a decent trainer that can push the big gradients and simulate them well for you, you're really going to feel it. I've probably mentioned before, I ride a Tax Neo 2T. Love the trainer. And I'm just saying that because I'm looking at my setup here in my man cave. So I ride an old cyclocross bike. I bought it to ride outside, rode it outside a few times. It's very twitchy. It's a Kona Jake the Snake. Got it dirt cheap. Now it's my training bike. Fits me perfect. And I've seen a lot of setup online. People's like, Zwift and Rouvy setups. And I remember way back when I saw one guy using something. Um, it's like one of those, I guess it would be like a computer stand or maybe a tray that you would have over your bed so that you could lay in bed and eat your meal on it. It's nothing fancy. It looks like it would be a computer application. But the thing about it is that you can crank it up, the arm telescopes up really high. And so right now I have this small table that sits in front of my bike. It's about 1 inch out from my brake levers. My laptop's on there. The laptop sits on so one of those things you get off Amazon. They're about $20. It's like a hard table and it's tilted with a padding underneath so that you can work on your laptop in your lap. I've got that to kind of like prop the laptop up a bit more. It's got a mouse pad set up so you keep your mouse right nearby, your wireless mouse. And then the edges of the table gives me room to put my drinks and stuff, drinks and snacks. You can get your bike wheel completely under it. These are things that you can probably buy for like 70, $80 Canadian, whatever that is, 50 American, from Amazon. And they're probably like, you use them until they rot and then you just huck them, right? I've seen people with setups where they're looking at a big TV that's far away and all that. I just like this because it's so close to me. Now I am set up to screen share to a 60-inch TV that's in here. So I can screen share it, or I've got a really long HDMI cable too that I can plug right in directly. But for me, my laptop's good enough. It's kind of what I've always used. It's nothing special. Um, it does the job. I know there's been a lot of talk, people that have problems on Rouvy sometimes. Is it my software? Is it this? Is it that? I think there's so many different setups that sometimes when there's updates and that, it's hard to keep up with it all. Hey, and loving the new people subscribing to the channel. As of today, it's the middle of the afternoon here on a Sunday, October 15th. I just hit 160 subscribers, and I am so pumped up about that. There's more coming. I will deliver. I hope you enjoy the commentary. Again, none of this is scripted outside of a couple notes I have here on a post-it note. Things about the climb. As you can see here during the climb, there's some flatter sections. I've actually put a little dent into Evil Colin from the past. So, the first version of me is about 400 meters behind. And so you can see here, little kicks up to like 6-7%, and then we're going to level off. In fact, we go downhill for a little bit here. One of the subscribers that joined on, I think I saw him this morning. I think he's from Poland. Not exactly sure. His name is Andrzej Miklas. And I looked up his name, and if he's Polish, that is Andrew. So Andrew Miklas. And, I like to see who my subscribers are. I don't get to see everyone because a lot of people have their accounts private. So I'm like, if you're willing to take your time and, your valuable time, entertainment time, and watch and listen to me, I want to see what you're doing too. I'm interested in other people. Andrew has a really cool channel. It looks like I don't know anything about it, but he's like into racing pigeons or like homing pigeons. He's got a ton of videos where I think what these guys do is I think they've got a bunch of pigeons and they take them out somewhere really far into a field, like far from home. And these birds just kick butt to get back there or to their starting point. They just have this natural innate ability to find their way back. I think it's really cool. I've seen a show about it once. Yeah, I think it's fascinating, really. These birds are extremely fast. If Andrew ever watches this and if he speaks English, maybe he can drop a comment on all the stuff I'm talking about here and educate us a little bit. So, Andrew, thanks for joining. And whoever else joined today, too, I haven't seen who you are yet. Back to the ride. We're at the halfway point here. Again, so I would call this definitely a sleeper route. I love it even more because it is AR, even though it doesn't really matter too much in this one because knowing what I did in the first ride, I just tried to take off on the old version of myself and work hard. So you can do this with yourself. You just turn on your personal best. You'll see that on the far right-hand side of the screen when you start a route. Or you could add virtual partners in. So you could do it multiple ways. You could just say, don't include my personal best and include yourself as a virtual partner. You could do both and you'd see yourself 2 more times. You could do this with, like, say, a previous version of yourself, and maybe you've got some riding buddies who you've done this route on so that they can turn you on and use you to train against because you're always going to chase them harder, right? Or try to escape away from them like I'm doing here right now. I'm like, whatever Mr. PR does, I'm going to push harder. And I do that all the way on this ride. If, I know I didn't do that ride very hard, but yeah, I'm just keeping this as high as I can, trying to stay in that 3 watts per kilo range. Again, every time you see the watts drop a lot, most of the time it's just a gear change. When you see it go from 3 down to like 2.2, I'm going to point one out right away here, like right there. See how it dropped down so much? I was probably changing gear, clicking back up to the gears, trying to get on top of the pedals. So let me just have a quick peek here, see where we're at. So we're in a bit of a steeper section here. It looks like we're at about 11% here. So, you're starting to notice these little climbs, right? Little sections of the climb, I should say. But again, like I said before, now we're back in the 6-7% zone. And it's like, yeah, okay, this is not too bad. So Mr. PR is riding, high 2s, and I'm trying to stay just over 3 just to get away. I could have used more virtual partners for this, but I just wanted to go mano a mano against myself. I thought I'd talk quickly. My previous 2 videos, I believe it was, maybe it was 3. I was in Palm Springs, actually Palm Desert, to see the Power Trip concert. If this is the first time you're watching me, I'll quickly blast through it. It was Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses on night 1. Night 2 was Judas Priest and AC/DC. Night 3 was Tool and Metallica. Best concert I've ever been to. It was gigantic. It was huge. It was expensive. It was so much fun. I hope they do another one because I'll be going back to it. Probably one of the funnest trips I've ever been on. Did come home sick. I've been off the bike 11 days. That was just a bit of laziness before I went. 6 days there. 3 or 4 days of sickness here. And just to kind of put some context to this, I'm doing this video right after I did a ride. So I'm trying to catch up with the Global Tourist Challenge that's going on right now. So I did the Brazil one. Just jumping back to the ride here, coming out of the first little section of the climb, now we're going to flatten off for a bit. So this is where we get to recover. And I'm doing pretty good here. My heart rate's only at 172. And just for perspective, so I'm 172 here in the middle of a climb. Now my heart rate does run kind of high. My heart rate does run high. And for my age, I can push my heart rate extremely high. So in perspective, I noticed when I came home, I wear an Aura ring. That's kind of like my fitness tracker I use for sleep and all that kind of stuff. I noticed it was running like 12 to 15 beats per minute high. Like my heart rate is so elevated right now at rest. I should be in the 50s and I'm like in the high 60s, cranking into the 70s. So anyways, long story here as we kind of go up the easy part of the gradient. Look how skinny these little roads are, right? I would love to be here. So lush, so green. Yeah, you can't find this kind of stuff here. So I did the Brazil route today. I think it's like 35 kilometers or something like that. And I felt pretty good on the ride, but my heart rate was cooking. So for that ride, my heart rate was 188 average, and I hit 198 peak heart rate, like max. But I was floating at 196, 197 quite a bit. That 198 was probably like for like half a second. If I would have put a sprint in, I would have broke through 200 today. Like hands down, easy. Um, wasn't my best ride, but that Brazil route, it's tougher than you think because it's kind of long and it's so flat. You don't really have anything to push against. So, your power is lower overall on those. My power on this thing will be way higher than what I wrote today. And so, yeah, 190 heart rate, that's high for anyone. I'm still standing, still kicking. So this is where the ride gets really interesting here. So you look at these things and you think, oh yeah, we got 10 kilometers to go with 500 meters of climbing. That's 5% all the way. Well, no, not really, because there's so many of those flat steps in there. So here we're kicking up to 12% right now, 14%. I've dropped Evil Colin really hard. He's 800 meters behind. Screw that guy. But check this stuff coming up right here. Like this is just brutal here. 16%, 17%, 18%. I had no idea this was coming. 19% here, 20% gradient, tax Neo 2T. You feel every percent of it. Let's get through this. But the beauty is you can keep your power so high through there. I love it. There we go. Quickly, we're flying downhill again. Quick little breather. You can see my watch drops huge, trying to figure out my gears. But it's so short, and then it's like, oh, here we go again. 12%, 15%. This climb is no joke. If you, I should figure out what the actual gradient is in places, because there's so much flat sections in that 10 kilometers that average, it could be 12% for all I know. 14% here, 15%. Definitely a sleeper. I don't see many people riding this. I'm sure in the past a ton of people have, but I'm just talking about now on Rouvy. I don't see it show up in my friends' feeds on Strava. This 10% stuff feels like heaven. 7, oh, it feels like I'm going downhill now. So easy. You get these little breaks and then I can see it coming again. I'm like, oh my, it's coming again. But I'm just toughing it out here, staying away from old Colin. And look, so you probably claw back that gap. Actually, Evil Colin's doing good there. 4 watts per kilo there. pulled back to 480 meters behind me. So clawed back almost half the distance. So we're rocking up here. You can see my power's dropping off, and I'm fatiguing huge here. 14, 15%. Please, no more. No more. 16%. And this is where the tax really does a good job. It just bites down on you hard. I've had other trainers. I've had a tax flux. It doesn't feel the same. I've had a Jet Black Volt, which is the Zwift hub. It doesn't feel the same. They have the big flywheels on them. 15, 16% here. Just let this end. Just please. And so you can see here my heart rate's 172, and I'm working hard. And today I was 25 beats a minute higher than this on a flat. So yeah, I guess I was pretty sick. And here we are. We're back to the easy stuff now. 7%, 6%. No problems here. If you guys like these kind of videos, please comment. Even better, share it with your friends. Tell your friends to have a peek. Learn some stuff about Rouvy here. There's just so much to do on Rouvy. We've got a little bit of a climb here. We're going to flatten out. And it looks like a false flat, really. I bet you we're going to be like 4%, 5% maybe, and then a last little sting to the tail. But yeah, like I love these kind of climbs. So, if you ride kind of like what I do, let's say you're like a 3 watt per kilo rider, this is like 45 minutes. You're going to do like a killer workout. You can squeeze this in before work, maybe before school, whatever it is you're doing. Actually, it gets nice and flat here. We're down to 2.5%, 2%. So I'm loving this part. Let's crank the speed back up. Of course, hard to put the power down because we're on the flats again, but it's coming here soon. And I put a bit of a gap into my old record because Evil Colin's still doing the climb, and I'm on the flats trying to race away now. So I'll probably make a playlist at some point when I get enough of these. That'll be like the sleeper playlist. If you're looking for something to do that, maybe not everyone else is doing, and you want to be a little bit different and see different places. I've done a bunch more of Roberto Rini's videos. I think I've got 3 banked right now. Pretty epic, fantastic videos. And the coolest part is I keep seeing the same people, and man, there's some battles going on. Because when the videos were posted, there wasn't that many virtual partners to use. So I just grabbed people randomly. And what's funny is one person in particular, and I didn't plan this, was in all 3 videos. I don't want to say too much more about it because, I'm going to try to make a little story out of it for you. And that person, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to say about them. That's for sure. I'll let that out of the bag pretty soon here. So, I hope you guys enjoy this one. We're getting close to the end here. Trying to keep my videos a touch shorter. So that's why I chop some out. I'm really lazy at editing. I'd rather just keep the full video, put it up to 2 times speed, and just try to do somewhat of a color commentary on it. Colin's rambles, call it that, right? So we're coming to the end here. I bet you the video is going to cut off pretty abruptly, so I'll just get to it. So the first time I rode this it took me 47 minutes. I averaged 234 watts. The second time, it's going to be 44 minutes and change, and I averaged 260 watts. So by just riding 26 watts per kilo, 26 watts total more, I shaved 3 minutes off my time. So push that power, right? That's what it's all about. Yeah, great course. I love the signage here. Rouvy did a really good job with this one. So yeah, if you're looking for some crazy ones, look for these shorter rides. If you've got some suggestions for me to do, I'll definitely do them. I did a video just recently that someone else suggested, Piazza number 2. And that's it, folks. There's my 260 watts. Thank you for watching and supporting me.